Good morning, I am Rockwell and this is Spencer, and we're going to talk to you about our current inflation.
Current inflation rates. Right now, as of this month, or a couple months ago, our current state of inflation is at 4.9% as of April 2023, when we're supposed to be at the hopeful percentile of 2%. But this is nothing like what we've had in the past. In 2022, we reached 8.9%. That is 4 times as much as where we want to be. And in 2021, we reached, I think, about 7% inflation rate. Our inflation rate is not as high as it was before, but it is still high.
Now this was caused actually by our lack of supply due to COVID. Now, we're trying to fix that now, but because we had lack of supply, the demand for certain products went up, like toilet paper, and that caused prices to rise, making inflation skyrocket.
Making things more expensive, yeah. So what's this? The government, I would say they like inflation. The government wants inflation to be higher because this then increases nominal income. The nominal income increase pushes people into higher tax brackets among the U.S. or among U.S. citizens in this country. With pushing higher tax brackets, it also pushes taxes to a higher rate. Therefore, we have to pay more taxes, and the government loves their taxes. They get more money from it.
But this is also a big detriment to the lower class because they already are trying to scrape by with these price rise-ups and these tax increases. And we see little to no increase in paycheck to paycheck. It makes money, if not gone, way more tight, and that really is a pain to those who are just trying to even make their way.
It's almost like they're pushing the middle class to be non-existent.
Yeah, the lower class, but yeah.
Yeah, you have lower
class become non-existent, middle class goes to lower class, and high class
pretty much stays high.
Stays high, if anything, maybe drops to a middle high class, if anything.
It's almost getting rid of our lower class.
Which is, on the surface, kind of looks good, but then again, those are people who we are just destroying their lives.
Yeah, it's not very easy. So, the best thing about inflation in any state or in any standpoint, low, stable, and most importantly, predictable inflation is good. That's good for the economy. But if inflation is low and predictable, it is easier to capture it in price adjustment contracts and interest rates, reducing its distortionary impact. But if you have inflation that is not predicted, it can really throw things off, and I think that's where we've kind of reached, especially with COVID and all that. You had a lot of people rushing out to get like toilet paper and things like that, and that really threw off our supply chain and demand and everything like that, and caused inflation rates to rise.
Now, inflation, we can change this by several different methods. The instant everyone thinks of is fix the supply or meet the demand, which works, but is not always viable, especially with resources. So, the best way to do it in the short term would be actually to just straight up reduce government spending, because this allows us to put more money back into the economy and put more money back into people's pockets so they can actually meet the demand that is currently meet the price demand that is currently set.
And I think we saw that with a lot of what were those? The stimulus checks. Yeah,
we saw that a lot with stimulus checks, and
I feel like that kind of made things worse almost.
But it was supposed to make things better, and in concept, it was going to.
Made our debt more.
But the problem was that instant people realized I can get this money for doing absolutely nothing. They stopped working, and then that created unemployment and more demand for employment.
And our debt grows as well. Our state or country's debt grows. National debt grows. For long term, if we're talking long term fixes with this, the best thing to do would to be able to properly predict the best we can inflation rates and rising inflation rates, or over the next couple of years, so we can see what we need to change or balance out. If we don't do that and we only focus on short-term fixes, again, those are only short-term fixes, and it won't help for long. we need to be able to see the inflation rates over the next couple of years to really make sure that it doesn't get out of hand.
Should we just focus on one of these things? Absolutely not. We should do a little bit of both. We should make sure we cut spending, but we should also do the long-term fixes that we talked about. There's no, everything's good with the media. There's no good on just putting all your eggs in one basket, as they say.
Yeah.
Well,